I'm short 42.92.25. Had some strong buying coming in, or some strong selling absorption coming in here. It's a little bit risky buying at the low end of the range, but my expectation is to take out a lot of this weakness here. So we have space to come down all the way to this 76 if it can go. We have a little bit of buying here, buyers here. We'll see if they can push these out and move lower. Doesn't look like this is going to hold, so I'm going to take a 3-point stop on this thing. Very unlikely to hold at this point. So if we can spike this high and get another chance to move lower, I will reassess. And stopped out there. This trade never got into any profit. Didn't have any buyers trapped entering at the 92.25. The only thing that I really had going for me is that this volume was here at the top and had some pretty significant selling coming in on this absorption. Issue on this trade is it was just based really on volume and this LVN area here, these trapped potential buyers, these buyers that came in here, buyers that came in here, but then we had this push down, this little imbalance, and then came back above that. So, but not really any trapped buyers at the low until we get down below kind of this area, and then at that point I'm already at the bottom of the, selling the bottom of the range. But 92.25 was my entry, and I was already kind of selling the bottom of this range, and it held and never went in my favor. So anticipating rather than waiting for this to happen. So I would say this is not a very good trade. Also wanted to talk about what else happened here. We had increased volume, so some limit buying here, and they continued to absorb, pushed up where we would expect into the structure, came back down, and then next time we came back down to here, we had limit buying coming back in, and then we definitely had a short-term seller here that wasn't able to push it back down and hold, and that's where I entered. And then now we're above that, above the sellers here. So really not ideal for the downside trade, and really this is weak as well to the left, all the way up into this area, back up into this 43, round number 43.02. So that would be my expectation, to take this out and move higher if we don't fail this area. So now we've pushed up. So I sold, gave my order to those limit buyers, which is exactly what you don't want to do, and then basically an 8-point rally all the way up to the round number. So pretty poor trade, I would say. Didn't really have anything going for it other than the potential to come back down through this weakness. So my read was not good. I need to continue documenting and recording all of my trades regardless, because I have a habit of, especially when things aren't going very well, stopping and not taking the accountability that I need to. Because if I can't clearly explain what I'm trying to do and trying to accomplish verbally and on video, then I really shouldn't be taking the trades, obviously. So this is significant volume here. Strong selling here, coming back up into this area where we would expect. This is the last untested area above these highs, and that's exactly where we came to. Didn't push through that. So this would be my expectation. This is our first untested supply, and we found selling above that, or below that actually, here. 1575 I am long, and see if I can hold this volume here. And
compression bar fails, we'll probably flush this low.
See if we can go up.
I'd expect the high.
This volume here, trap sellers, but like as you can hear in the background, it just needs to hold. And now we have some volume coming in, and I'm gonna have to manage this real tight here. It's got to go right here.
The reaction so far, pretty weak. Let's see what she's got.
That's not looking good at all.
I'm out of my long. I'm gonna make her show me that buyer now. I don't think we're gonna see one.
I just took the loss on that one. I'm long 32.75. Came down into this volume multiple times. I also took a loss in this area, so I'm down 3 losses now. But we're going to see if we can push above and trap these last sellers here. This is a real crucial area now here. If this is going to go, we got some volume coming in now on this current bar. Little increase in volume, but not much. So I think we potentially have some shorts trapped. And we'll see if we can get up into the, we really have a nice potential for some long side into these highs over here, this marked out volume here, all the way up into this imbalance. So this would be the target around the 55, but not going to hold it through there. Likely we have some, even up into the 50 would be, I mean, that's a huge target, 43.50, but it's looking real nice for possible another big move up. We'll see what happens, especially when we get up into this volume, but we could see a reaction here for sure. But I'm guessing that a lot of this accumulation in here is set for a big move up. But this is the safe trade would be to take it off into this volume at 37.75, but I'm going to hold it for the break. And it looks like that would have been a pretty good exit, but 37.75 would have been 6 points. So do I give it all back, or now we're going to have to hold this structure and show that all these shorts in here are trapped. But don't know what's going to happen. Just got to let the trade play out now. Pretty deep pullback. I wouldn't be surprised if I got taken out, but this volume needs to hold and go from here. The volume's coming in right around this area, so now I just got taken out. So exactly where this last seller came in, so 6 points of equity, and I took a break even. Short 22.75. Looking for the low side of this to go. Had some compression volume coming in here. Now it's a kind of make or break area that if we're going to hold this and move up, then we'll be back up into this range. But this is a pretty major LVN area, so my expectation is to come down and push back into this area and take out some of these lows. Definitely needs to go now. I appear to be slightly stuck on the wrong side as a late short, but if we can push down below this short-term, these buyers here, this last buyer in here is what I'm looking to push out. And then we had this compression volume here, structure here, and now we've tested all the way down to here. So below this area is the potential, and I'll probably just take it off into this volume here at the 15.25. That would be about a 7-point win if I can get down and push out some of these longs. Now I'll be looking for this volume to hold from below. If we can't push out these last longs here, then I'm going to have to kill this trade. Looking good so far. Just need to get the flush now. That's not a very good response there. A little bit of buying coming in now. It needs to go. If it can't hold this area, I'm in trouble. A little bit of buying response, but not on increased volume at all. So I'm going to try to give it a little bit of room because I don't want to get spiked out on a retrace higher. That's a good response right there. And this last little buyer right here is what I want to see taken out. And a flush. And I was taken out break even. This is where I would expect the buyer to come in, and they did. So rather than waiting for this to break, it was a little bit risky to keep risk on there, but I'm long 43.25.75, and we had this spike down here right at 9 o'clock, and are up into holding the structure now. So our expectation is really we could come all the way back up into the highs from this area. Buying a little bit top of the range here, but I would need to see it hold this volume here. And we have a real nice potential for an upside trade here. Some compression here on the last seller that came in, but I think we definitely have all of these shorts trapped here, all of these shorts in this range here, and then a spike down, pulling in even more shorts and potentially pushing them out. Gotta hold this volume here at this LVN. But I'm going to stick with my read and see if we can get the break. It's a real nice push there. Last seller here. After this, I'll go break even. And then we have some potential supply here from this previous drop, but we are holding the structure here and now testing back up into this for the second time. Not much increased volume coming in yet. But it's just kind of taking its time. I took my risk off. We one high ticked this last seller here, so this is likely going to be another break even, and then that's out for break even again. Along the ES 2350. Came back down below this, low ticked this buyer here, stopping out this area, and now we're right at the level as far as the potential to move higher back up into this area. To target would be about 3150 or maybe slightly higher into this area to this 3325 if we can hold this. Need to hold this volume, push up. We had a small push up now here, and a little bit of buying came in, or a little bit of selling, but nothing too strong here. Along 43.2450, right at the level here of the potential of having some considerable amount of shorts trapped, and we had this also compression volume coming in here. So there's potential that this is selling, but with this spike down below into fresh demand, my expectation is that we're going to move back up into this upper value area here. Possibly, once again, the high of the day is in play if we can get the push up. So it's a little aggressive. Being right at the level where these previous sellers, these last sellers kind of came in, this limit selling in this area. significant amount of volume coming in now here at these highs. So I need to watch this real carefully if we don't pop up above that again. Looks like that could potentially be limit selling. So now we have volume coming in here again at this, right at this area. This needs to go. Pretty significant volume coming in right at my entry now. I don't want to de-risk too early here, but now I'm above the volume. That's not looking like it's going to hold. Right at my entry now. There's kind of battle going on. But likely that I'll get spiked out on any move down. And that's exactly what happened. I want to go over my last 3 tries were longs basically since 9 o'clock. And what I'm wondering is, why am I looking at longs in an area of a major demand, major supply, source of supply here, coming up, an inability to come up above this low volume area. Every time we came up, we sold off, all the way up until my last long try in here to come up and think that we were going to break through this again and challenge the high a day. But why am I looking at that rather than looking for short opportunities, especially through here? Because we saw, as we came up into this small supply area, limit selling here, limit selling here again, limit selling here, and then an imbalance down. So at this point, I definitely should have been looking at short opportunities, limit selling with potentially all of these longs in this area trapped. And now what we've seen is this push out, and then this order flow triggered down all the way back into the origin of this demand. So it seems so simple, so straightforward, and I traded it so poorly, and I don't really understand. I can't wrap my head around why I can continue to do this and see the auction so bad. Now, I mean, in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. So if we can't push up above this area, really I shouldn't be looking for longs until we push up into this value, come back and hold from above. And so I'm constantly trying to fight that auction, trying to anticipate what isn't actually happening. And now, so we're really looking at now being all the way back down in here and potentially challenging this low, and we have an extremely weak overnight low structure as well. All of this is extremely weak. It's just large, slow grind on low volume overnight. So just so frustrating. I feel like I have a good feeling of what's going on, but then I can't even follow a pretty straightforward. And for the most part, this is trading in value. So to be trying to trade the edges of value to break out in a balanced day makes no sense. We came up and down, up and down, up and down pretty much the entire session. It's crazy. I'm trying to short here at 43.1050. Came up to this previous LVN area, and my expectation now is to take out the bottom side of this range and potentially even down to this low, this LVN at 43.01, and come back down to the 43 round number, and that's what I'll be targeting. There's definitely some large bids on the on the dome here. So we'll see if we can take that out. Definitely had some pretty significant buying coming in this area, so we need to push down below that for this trade to have a chance. But our last buyer came in this area at the 4309.75, that 4310 area. So we'll see if I'm right on the right side of this and see if we can get a nice flush and push lower. The issue is this is a strong area of demand, so I need to watch this pretty carefully on any push down, but it has a chance. That's a pretty nice reaction, this last push down. Our last buyer here really didn't make any progress at all. Delta is also extremely positive in this area, so we have a lot of long volume that could potentially unwind. There goes the low, and short of any real strong buying coming in here, we should see further move down. And that's a pretty strong reversal out of that area, and I just got taken out for another break even. Read and context were exactly correct. Here's my target at 43 even for 10.5 points, and on this last push below the low and retrace took me out by 1 tick to 10.75. My entry was 10.50. So just crazy. So frustrating. Read context, trade was correct. Even the de-risk below the low probably really made sense, but it got me on the last push up to pull in the late longs. And now we can see we may see lower prices, like I discussed earlier. So I'm going to be done for the day. After that last trade, it's just not meant to be. But I feel good about having the context and the read correct. My plan is to really just start paying much more attention trading between the zones. For example, like I already talked about, that being below this area in this trading in this value range at the top of the range into this supply is not long-term good for an hedge, and actually trading the opposite, top of this range, and especially in a balanced day, to take out the low side of this range makes a whole lot more sense. And then once we're down into here, any short opportunities to push down further into this untested demand makes sense. So anyway, pretty poor day overall, down almost 40 ticks, I think 38, 39 ticks. So it's not been going very well lately, but just keep working on it.